Hi everybody, this is Abby with Scrap and Abby, and I'm back with another flower tutorial for all of you. I have my fan going in the background over that direction, so I'm hoping that it's not too noisy. It's just my room is really warm right now. So what I'm going to be sharing with you guys in this video is going to be a couple different types of just lace and ribbon flowers that you can create. And I have a couple projects that I've already done. I have so many more, but they're kind of, oop, this is sliding, all over the place. Some I've given away, and some I have tucked away in some mini albums, things like that. But this is one that I made at the Mona Me Gabby flower class at CK Convention this year. This is really super easy. This was on, a strand because I had some pearl going down it with another flower at the end, and I didn't really like how that looked so much, so I took mine apart, and I'll show you as soon as I get going here what my idea is to keep it on the burlap. This is another one I made with some vintage lace. I did not make this blue flower. This is from Maya Road, but I did make this one that's on top. And what I did is I just took some lace, and I'll show you this in a moment in the tutorial portion of how I made this flower with this vintage lace. I thought it was just really, really pretty, just kind of unique and something different. And you can see how cute it looks on a project, a tag or card or anything you want to use it for. So that's kind of an idea of how to use one of those types of flowers. And underneath here I have all the supplies I'm going to be using for this tutorial. It looks like a lot. It's because I'm just giving myself some choices of, some different buttons, some flat back pearls, little metal embellishments, things like that you want to use for the centers of your flowers. Of course, you can even use, for some of the smaller ones, some of the smaller flat back pearls or some bling, things like that for your project. And then I have all the different adhesives. We're going to be using some score tape, different widths. Again, you can also use the Beacon 3-in-1, which I will be using not for the base of my flowers, but I'll be using this to adhere my buttons and stuff for the centers of my flowers. Put that off to the side. And then I have just a couple different size of punches. These are a 1 inch and a 2 inch. You can use whatever size you want. Before I had these, I used to just cut them for my Cricut, or I would just do them freehand, because you're not going to see the base, so it doesn't really matter if they're perfect circles or not. But I went ahead and have those, and then some scissors, of course, and then just a bone folder, or this is my scoring tool from my Score Pal. And then I'm going to be using these glue dots as well, and these are the 2 inch glue dots. And I think that's it, along with just some variety of some ribbons and trims and laces. Now, one thing I did want to share with you guys, I didn't prepare to do this type of with the crinkle ribbon, because it's pretty much the same idea as with this one and what I'm going to show you. But I'm on the design team for 3 Girl Jam, and this probably, the way I store my ribbon is probably goes against every OCD vibe in my body, because I don't typically store things all smashed together, but I just do, just to kind of keep the stuff separate, since it's for a design team project, in which I bought a lot of this myself, by the way. Let me just throw that in there. But anyways, this is my crinkle ribbon stash from 3 Girl Jam. They are awesome. Go check out their crinkle ribbon. So this is a project. This is kind of big, but I'm going to show you, you can make this with crinkle ribbon as well. These really sweet flowers. This is a purple one, a white one with the flat back pearls, and then I have another one on the back side here. And then I also have a couple on the front. This is a project I did a while back. It's one of the Kaiser Craft wood drawers, storage drawers, and there's a smaller one right there with the vintage button in the middle. So you can use all types of ribbons and trims and laces to create flowers to add some really pretty embellishment to your projects. So there's that. And then my idea for this one, since I left it on that, because it's already glued to this strip of burlap, is if you have like a vintage jar or something, and this is just one I have displayed in my room with some purple, potpourri type stuff in it. If you wanted to give this as a gift to somebody, you could certainly just make a flower, take some burlap or even some fabric or whatever you wanted, and then just stick it on there. I mean, look how cute that dresses up that jar. This takes like not even a couple minutes. You can have a project like that put together. So I wish I would have thought of this for my wedding. I got married 4 years ago, and I made all of my invitations and all my party decor, reception items and things, and that would have been a lot of fun to have. So I'm going to get started. Just to kind of as a time saver, I went ahead and cut some of my circles out, already put some adhesive on some of my circles as well, just to kind of get going. And I also started one flower over here just to share with you guys. So what I do is I keep my strips of cardstock from other projects that I'm using, and this is what I use to cut, my little circles that I use for the bases of my flowers. Now, the base of the paper you use isn't really going to matter, because it's going to be covered with the material you're choosing to use. If you're using more of a sheer type of trim or ribbon, or maybe some type of, like for example, this ribbon here, this is more of a sheer ribbon. You probably wouldn't want to use black or craft or something like this unless you wanted that to show, because obviously it's see-through a little bit because it's sheer. So I would probably use like white just so it didn't show through as much. But you know, you can kind of decide what kind of look you're going for with that. So I'll go ahead and get started. Kind of clear my space off just a little bit. The first one I did, just to kind of show you guys off camera, I already had made this one. This is on one of the 1-inch circle bases. This is just some really funky purple trim. I love it. It's cotton. I've kind of hoarded this. I've had this for probably 3-4 years. This is all I have left, and I love it. I just like to look at it. It's pretty. So I just made a tiny little flower just to show you how you know, you can use, you know, even ribbons that have a lot of, you know, texture and curl to them. You can make a really cute little flower. So there's that one. And then the next one I'm going to share with you guys is the one I showed you on this tag right here, how to make this little flower. So what I did is I cut a craft circle, and I wanted to use craft because in case the it shows through, this looks way better mixing with this than it does with white, because they're obviously separate different colors, and the craft is more in the lines of this lace here. So this is some vintage lace I have on a spool. This is what it looked like before I cut it in half. And I know, gasping probably because I cut this beautiful lace, but I'm going to use it. I can use this for 2 different projects. So this is what it looked like before. And I just simply took a length of the lace. I cut it in half, and then I have these 2 strips right here. This is the other half, which I can use on another project. I can make another flower. You know, you can use it. So you definitely save that. And this is the piece we're going to use for that flower. And it's got that tattered edge right there. So it makes the little what you guys saw here, how it sticks up like that for some extra texture. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just show you guys. Now you can use the glue dots. They come in different sizes. I just happen to only have the 2-inch, and I don't want to waste any. And I've tried to cut around it before, and it just really gunked up my scissors. So I'm just using a variety of different score tapes, which I love. You of course can use, I probably wouldn't want to use this because it's so liquidy, and I don't want to have to mess with it gooping around all of my ribbon. And sometimes it can you know, leave marks on your trims and stuff. Or some people like to use a hot glue gun. I prefer not to craft with that so much, but that's just me. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit for you guys here so you can kind of see what I'm working on here. Give me just a sec here. I'm trying to get my, there we go. As I keep saying in my videos, my battery's about to die, so it's really sketchy on whether it's going to work or not. So okay, there we go. So all I'm doing is just simply taking my circle, and I'm just using some of the score tape here. This is the 1-inch here, score tape, and I have scissors specifically for this. Yes, I know you can tear this because it's a paper backing, but with me and my, you know, OCD, I don't like to do that. I don't like that torn edge on there. So that's just a me thing. And then I'm going to grab my 1/2 inch. And there are all types of tape adhesives. You know, there's like some other ones I've seen out there. I think they're called like Miracle Tape, or, you know, there's one I picked up from convention. It doesn't even have a brand on it. It just was in the booth. And so you can use all kinds of, you know, paper adhesives that you want, or tape that you want. I just happen to love score tape. And then I just take my scoring tool just to kind of burnish down the tape, make sure it's sticking to the paper, and you just simply peel the backing off. And even though it's overlapped the circle, it doesn't matter, because you can just flip that right over the edge just like that. And this does not hamper with you making the flower at all with having that extra adhesive folded over on your circle there. So, and that, but you can of course choose to cut around that on your tape if you want to do that. That's your call on that. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just grab my lace, and since this is the piece I want to have sticking up because of the flower, this is what I'm going to attach to the base. So I'm going to try to get this on camera as best as I can. And once I get going, I'll hold it up to show you guys. But basically, I'm just going to take this piece and then to stick it on. Oops, sorry, I'm trying to watch at the same time. And to stick it on the edge, very most edge, just like that. And then I'm just going to kind of go around and do kind of like this, where I fold it over and kind of do like a little bit of a pleat. And this goes really quickly when you do these types of flowers. You can be sitting there gabbing with your girlfriends at a crop, or watching a YouTube video or something like that, and just make a lot of these kind of flowers. And that's kind of what I'm doing, just going all the way around the edge just like that, as you guys can see. And then the kind of things I like to do to put in the middle of my flowers when I make these is I like to either use some vintage buttons, especially if I'm using vintage lace or trims. I just think it kind of stays with that same kind of a theme. And then, sorry, make sure I'm on camera here at the same time. So I like to do that. And then, you know, you can use flat back pearls. You can use, you know, gems. I've seen, you know, like with some of like when I've made like some cards or projects for my daughter, I haven't really used so much of the vintage stuff because that's not really her look, but I'll use some of the gems, and I'll show you in just a moment what I'm talking about. You can get to kind of make it look a little more youthful. And you can use, you know, you can even layer this with other fabric flowers if you want to do that kind of a thing. And then so what you can do, because I didn't really measure this one too well, but since I have a little bit of a center there, but that's okay because I don't want to cut any more of the lace. That just means I'll just use a little bit bigger of a button or something in the center for this one. So what I'm going to do is just grab a flat back pearl and just pop that right in the center. And then most of the pearl would probably be stuck because there is that little bit of adhesive in the center, but just for a little bit of extra insurance, I'm going to add just a little tiny bit of the 3-in-1 to the back of this flat back pearl here, just so I can make sure it's going to stay put where it needs to stay. And then this will just be kind of a really cool thing to add to a tag or a card or something like that. And then you can just see really quickly how I made just that simple flower. Now this looks a little bit different than this one because I made this one a little bit tighter of a look because I wanted more of that poof in the center. This one is just more kind of like with, you know, being a little bit more flat. But look how pretty that is and how simple and quick that was to make something like that. And you can really make your laces go a long way by cutting it in half like I did with that one. So there's the first one. Put that to the side. The next one I already kind of started for you guys. I just wanted to show you using some of this trim that's, you got that natural curve to it. And this is what I used. I used one of the glue dots, the 2-inch glue dots. That's what it looks like. So you just simply peel the cover off. And then you go ahead and it's the same kind of theory as what I just showed you. I just started in the center, or excuse me, the outer edge. And then on this one, I'm intentionally taking this, and instead of laying it flat like that, I'm putting it up on its end like this. Hope you guys can see that okay. I'm doing that so it kind of stands up a little bit more, and that way it's going to give me a little bit more height and dimension to my flower. And this is going to be another fun one to use on a layout, or you know, you could even one of the ladies at the flower class I was at, actually Marina, who owns the Monami Gabby, I wear hats a lot. I love hats. And she was saying you could even put this like on the back of a piece of felt, and then you could add it as with a brooch or a pin on the back, or put it on the you know, the brim of a hat or something like that. So I thought that was a really cute idea to do something like that. So probably we'll be doing that. And I'm going to cut that. And this was about a yard of this lace trim on one of those dots. And so you have your end piece once you trim it off. And then you go ahead and just kind of tuck it down there in that little center. And then there you have this flower. And then see how pretty that is? It was just so easy to do. And then I already had a button picked out for this one. And I'm going to use this one here. This is a vintage button in my stash of stuff. And then again, I'm just going to add, you know, some more of this liquid adhesive. And of course you can use hot glue if you want to do that. That is totally up to you, your preference of what you'd like to use. There you go. My fan going, it's kind of blowing my glue around when I get it out. It's kind of being crazy. So you just stick that right there in the center, and then you have another really quick, super fun, easy flower. And then you just leave this on, you just leave this paper adhered to the back, and when you're ready to use this on a project, you just simply grab it and peel it off. And then you have this ready to attach to any type of project. So there's another flower. And then the next one I'm going to share with you guys is, let's see here, this purple one. This is more of a stretchy. This, I don't even know where I got this trim. It was just in a bag of some miscellaneous items. This is a really cool stretchy one. This would be great for binding on an album or something. But I went ahead and got this one together as well. Same kind of thing. And this is on some white, since this has white in it. That way if it happens to show through just a little tiny bit, then you don't, you'll see your cardstock base on the bottom. And you can really use any type of chipboard, or, well, not chipboard, but, well, I suppose you could if you wanted to. I meant to say cardstock for your base. If you use one that's a little bit thinner, then of course you can manipulate it a little bit more and kind of get your bends and turns. So this one, I'm just going to do kind of the same principle again. Just going to stick it. Actually, I'm going to snip that end off. It's a little bit frayed. And the same thing, I'm just going to go ahead and stick this on here like this, and it's going to kind of go around. And you can make your pleats as tight as you want. You can make them as loose as you want. It just depends on the kind of look you're going for your flower. And you know, you could even layer different colors, like go around the edge of this one and then stop and then grab a different kind of, once you go around the outer edge, you can grab a different kind of trim and then go back over and do, you know, like alternating rows of different types of ribbons, laces, trims, things like that. If you wanted to do that, you know, the possibilities with this kind of thing are just endless. And I know people probably have seen, you know, other tutorials and things like that. Sorry, my hands are totally covering the project, you guys, on how to do this. But this is, you know, I had just been asked by some of my followers on how to make some of these flowers and that kind of stuff that I put on my project. So that's why I'm doing this video. So just a different take and different perspective, because some people like to use different mediums and different adhesive and things like that. So instead of going all the way at the end of this, I'm going to snip this off right here. And that way I have enough of this left to use on a project, you know, fold it in half, staple it, that kind of a thing. And you can use that for on a different project. Go down here in the center. And then you don't always even have to put something in the center. You can leave it plain just like that, because I think that's really cute. But you can take it, because this is some cardstock that was just, you know, just some cheapo cardstock that I had to use as on the basement of the project. You can take it and kind of, you know, manipulate it like this a little bit, and you can kind of get some, you know, a little bit of curvature to your project. And there's that one there. And this would be really cute. Let me pick a button here really fast. Doesn't even have to necessarily match that. Like, I think that's really cute right there, that brass. You could use a brass button in the middle. You could use a white one. You know, you could use black. You could use whatever you wanted. It's depending on what your project was, what you were going for with your project. Or you could even do, like I was telling you guys a second ago, these are some of those flat back, you know, like embellished, like the like jewels or whatever. I'm not even sure what the name is called for them technically, but like I had a friend of mine pick these up at a yard sale for me, so I thought these were kind of cool. So I just kind of keep these and use these on different projects. I'm kind of skimming here for one really quick, just to throw in the center. Let's see if I can find one. Here we go. We'll use this one. So this, you could put this right here in the center too, and that'd be kind of cute too, I think, just like that, to kind of dress it up. But I think the one I like the best is that brass one I had, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab that one back out again. And then again, just put a little bit more adhesive. And it doesn't even matter if your buttons have those little you know, the little hooks in the back where the thread goes, or the little nubbin. That doesn't matter, because the adhesive is going to just have it stick in there really well, and it's just going to kind of, you know, just kind of adhere nicely to the fabric that you chose for your button or for your flower. So there's the second one. I think that's really cute looking, actually. I like that. And then for, you can do another flower with the bigger one, the bigger, wider laces. This is just some vintage lace that I have. And then same thing, you just peel off the cover. I'm going to flip it this way. And then you can make these flowers as big as you wanted. You can just go on the outermost edge again, like this, and then kind of pinch around. And you could even trim off some of this, the edge of this lace, if you guys thought this was a little bit way too big of a flower. But this would be something really cool, like on a canvas, or you know, maybe some kind of a wall hanging or something that you've made. Or even if you wanted to put this, you know, on a wider, bigger brimmed hat or something, this would be really cute to do, I think, something like that. And then you just kind of go into the middle. So it's kind of the same kind of process for all these flowers, you guys. There's nothing real super, you know, tricky about it. It's just kind of letting your imagination go wild on what you want to do with it. So there's all kinds of possibilities with this. And you can make the centers tighter, which is kind of what I'm doing here. And then you can have yourself a little bit bigger flower. Or if you want to make it where it's a bit looser, you know, because it doesn't stick up as tall as that, you can make your edges, you can easily pop this off, and then you can make it go back where it's a bit looser of a flower like that. And that's kind of what I'll do here, just really quickly. I'm trying to stay in the 20-minute mark for all my tutorial videos here, so I'm just about out of time. So I'll do this really quick here. And then you just, when you get towards the end, you can go ahead and snip off the edge of your lace, right there. And just kind of go ahead and continue in the center. And this one, I don't think I'm going to put anything in the center of this one. I'm just going to continue the lace all the way to the middle. Just kind of do that. And then there you have just a really big one. And you can take this in the back, even though it's on the glue dot, and you can kind of cup this in your hand and you can kind of do this business with it. You can kind of squish it, and then you have yourself a really cool flower that's got some dimension to it. And again, you know, obviously this is pretty thick. This is some wide lace. You probably wouldn't want to put this on a card. That might be kind of overkill. But on a canvas project, you know, like a larger wall canvas or something like that, be really cute. And then of course you can even put a smaller flower, obviously, you know, different color because that matches too well, but you could put a smaller flower on top, or you know, if you had one that was coordinating, you could do something like that too. So those are just kind of some ideas you can use for flowers. Here's some smaller lace. I won't show you how to make that flower because it's kind of the same thing of what I was already showing you guys. Let me zoom out just for a second here and get my camera to go out a little bit. And so this was just a quick fun tutorial just to kind of share with you guys some different types of flowers you can make using score tape, the glue dots, and just some scrap pieces of laces and trims that you might have laying around, and then just using some different buttons and pearls and things like that for the embellishments. So these are the flowers that I just made for you guys fairly quickly. And I can put these, you can keep them on the paper, like I said, until you're ready to use them for a project. So these are just some kind of things you can use to clean up some of your scraps. Again, you can put it on a strip of burlap or some fabric, wrap it around a jar, a candle, something like that. Use it on a tag like I have here, or like I showed you guys on the top of that organizer that I made. So thanks for checking out another Scrap and Abby video, and I'll be back shortly with another flower tutorial for you guys, and this one's going to feature my daughter, so be very exciting. See you guys soon.